Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. You wake to the sound of distant sirens and see a red glow on the horizon. The power's out. Your phone's dead. There's no time to think, only to act. You grab your bug-out bag, throw on your boots, and head for the woods. But stop. What if that decision is the one that gets you killed? In the dark side of bugging out, we're going to expose the cold, hard truth. Bugging out isn't just risky. For most people, it's a deadly mistake. Let's start with the brutal truth, one most preppers don't like to admit. Surviving a total collapse isn't like going on a weekend camping trip. The average person has little to no real-world survival experience. They've never lived outdoors, never trained under pressure. Many so-called preppers spend more time fantasizing online than practicing in the field. As the Bug Out Academy points out, people often brag about elaborate escape plans, like hiking 30 miles to a remote cabin, while ignoring their own physical limits. A bad knee, a bad back, chronic illness, you name it. One example? A prepper planned to walk over 30 miles to a forest cabin, but his social media was full of complaints about COPD and a bad knee. In reality, he'd probably struggle to walk even 3 miles with a full pack. That kind of fantasy can get you killed. Survival forums are full of armchair commandos, people who've never even spent a single night outside. And here's the cold reality. If you haven't trained under real conditions, a true bug out could overwhelm you in less than 24 hours. One respected survival site put it bluntly. Most people who think they'll run into the wilderness when things go bad won't even make it through the first day. Harsh? Yes, but probably true. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Most Americans today simply aren't in shape. Bugging out on foot with a 30 to 50 pound pack is no small task. It's extreme physical stress, especially if you're not used to it. Even some active people say that carrying a 42-pound pack more than 5 to 10 miles felt unrealistic. They feared soft tissue damage, or worse. Yet, many bug-out bags weigh 40 pounds or more. That's about a quarter of the average person's body weight. Try hauling that for hours on rough terrain. It can lead to exhaustion or injury fast. One expert put it bluntly. If you can't walk to your mailbox and back without needing a break, planning to bug out on foot for hundreds of miles isn't going to end well. The truth is, most people overestimate their endurance and underestimate the brutal reality of long-distance travel on foot. And keep in mind, you only move as fast as your slowest team member. That could be your child, an elderly parent, or an injured spouse. Your 20-mile pace? That just became 2 or 3 miles a day. Exhaustion kills. It leads to slow reflexes, poor choices, and dropped defenses. Even seasoned preppers admit, most people won't make it 100 miles on foot. The roads will clog, fuel will vanish, and physical limits will hit hard and fast. Bugging out isn't a sprint, it's a marathon from hell, and most people just aren't ready for it. Let's be clear, bugging out isn't as simple as grab your bag and go. Where are you actually going? Heading into the woods with no specific destination is not a plan. It's a death sentence. Survival experts agree. If you evacuate, you need a predetermined safe location, a friend's farm, a prepped cabin, an emergency shelter, and you need backups like plans B, C, and D in case one fails. But here's the problem. Many people's bug-out plan is just that, a vague idea. And that's not nearly enough. During a real crisis, you won't be alone out there. You'll be surrounded by millions of panicked people. And if it's a city-wide evacuation, highways will lock up like parking lots. Leave too late or try to go too far and you'll hit gridlock, fuel shortages, and chaos. As one prepper magazine put it, most people won't make it 100 miles, let alone 300. Roads clog, fuels run out, bodies give out. Unless you stored your own fuel, have an off-road capable vehicle, or know alternate routes intimately, you could end up stranded. Or worse, forced to continue on foot. In that remote cabin you imagined, you might never reach it. Bridges could be down, checkpoints or debris might block roads, and you could be pushed off course into dangerous terrain, mountains, thick forests, back roads you've never seen. Without strong navigation skills, you could easily get lost or hurt. Ask yourself honestly, do you know your bug-out routes like the back of your hand? Have you ever driven them or hiked them with your gear? Experts stress this. You need detailed, practiced evacuation routes and multiple backups. Because in a real emergency, GPS might go down, your phone might die. Could you still navigate with just a compass and a paper map? In today's world, there's another layer, your digital footprint. Phones, cameras, smartphones. They could all give away your location, even when you think you've gone off-grid. This is advanced territory, and few preppers have truly mastered it. The bottom line? Unrealistic plans and poor preparation will get you killed. As one survival writer puts it, bugging out isn't about running, it's about getting to safety. And if you haven't rigorously planned how to get there, you probably won't make it. Now, let's talk about a danger that's even more immediate than looters or supply shortages: the natural world itself. Because here's the harsh reality: a collapsed society won't kill you as fast as Mother Nature can. When you leave your home, you leave behind shelter. You leave behind heating, cooling, and protection from the elements. And exposure, not violence, is actually the #1 killer in wilderness survival. Let that sink in. You can survive weeks without food, but just a few hours of extreme cold or heat can be deadly. Bugging out means you're exposed to whatever the weather throws at you. And guess what? The weather doesn't care about your plans. Without solid shelter, hypothermia becomes a real threat, even in places that don't seem that harsh. Take this example. A healthy 19-year-old hiker died of hypothermia in New Hampshire's White Mountains, less than a mile from a trail. She wasn't deep in the wilderness. She was 3/4 of a mile off the path. And it was November, not even the dead of winter. Even in summer, sudden mountain storms can bring frigid rain and wind. One man hiking in June sent a text that read, "Will die," as a storm rolled in. He was found later, hypothermic and too late to save. Now, imagine bugging out in winter with nothing but a tarp or a thin tent. A single cold rain could soak you through and kill you overnight. And it's not just cold that's deadly. Heat or dehydration can be just as brutal. Hiking in scorching heat with limited water is a straight path to heat stroke. You might think, I'll just find water along the way. But in a crisis? Streams may be dry, rivers may be polluted, public fountains probably shut down. Humans can survive only about 3 days without water in moderate conditions, even less in extreme heat. And here's the real challenge. To stay functional, you need at least 2 liters of water per person per day. For a family of 4? That's 2 gallons a day, over 16 pounds of water. Try hauling that for miles, on foot, with gear, in summer. If you try to ration below that, you risk dehydration, which destroys your judgment, and that leads to mistakes. And mistakes, out there, can be fatal. Even a minor injury can become life-threatening in the wild. A sprained ankle at home is annoying, but in the backcountry, it can immobilize you, and there's no ambulance coming. As one wilderness expert put it, a twisted ankle that's minor in civilization can be catastrophic in the mountains. The bottom line? Bugging out means you've entered enemy territory, and the enemies are cold, heat, hunger, thirst, and terrain. Without walls to protect you, nature becomes your battlefield, and she doesn't forgive mistakes. Quick break here. If you're finding this video valuable and you want to keep sharpening your prepping skills, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of the practical strategies and tips I share each week. Together, we'll stay prepared, informed, and ahead of whatever life throws our way. Alright, back to the video. Now let's talk about a threat even more unpredictable and just as deadly as nature itself: other people. Because when society breaks down, law and order often go with it. And that means the biggest danger you face while bugging out might be a human. When you leave home, you're stepping out of your security zone and into a vacuum. A world without police, without 911, without rules. And in that kind of chaos, desperation takes over. You won't be the only one trying to escape. Others will be fleeing too, some scared, some violent, some looking for what you've got. And here's the cold truth. If you look like you have supplies, you're a target. A lone person with a loaded backpack, or a truck packed with gear. That doesn't say prepared, it says rob me. One prepper wrote about this exact fear. Towing a trailer filled with food and water, he realized he'd be broadcasting a giant neon sign: "I have resources." In his words, starving, thirsty, desperate people won't hesitate to take what I have. That's not paranoia, that's reality. Even worse, if you think you'll be welcomed in some quiet rural area, think again. In a true collapse, tight-knit communities may defend their territory fiercely and turn outsiders away at gunpoint. They're not being cruel, they're protecting their own. And you're competition. Then there's a problem of security. At home, you have locks, fences, maybe even security cameras. On the road, none of that. You sleep exposed. No alarm, no perimeter, no safety net. And unless you're traveling with a large, trained group, you're wide open to ambush. Who's watching you while you sleep? Who's covering your back if you're injured? The lone wolf survival fantasy sounds cool, until reality kicks in. As one expert puts it, Going solo means no one to pull security, no backup, and zero room for mistakes. Even two people can't stay awake all night, every night. And even if you're armed, you're not invincible. All it takes is one mistake or one bullet. The harsh truth? Bugging out means entering a world full of unknowns. Some people out there will be decent, and others won't. And when you're tired, exposed, and low on food, even one bad encounter could be your last. If you don't account for the human threat in your bug-out plan, you don't have a real plan. Now, let's talk about a threat that doesn't come from the outside, but from within your own body. Medical vulnerability. Think about the medical needs you and your family rely on during normal life. Things like prescriptions, inhalers, insulin, or even just first aid for minor cuts. Now imagine being on the road, carrying only what you can, and suddenly needing urgent medical care. What if you or your child has asthma and forgets the inhaler? What if someone has diabetes, heart issues, or a mental health condition that's triggered by stress? Bugging out is already physically and emotionally exhausting. Add a health emergency to that, and things can spiral fast. In a stable home, you can administer medications, maintain basic hygiene, and give someone a clean space to recover. But out in the wild, you're dealing with dirt, stress, fatigue, and the elements. There's no real rest and no sterile environment. Even a minor cut can become infected. Dehydration can damage kidneys. A twisted ankle can stop you cold. And if someone in your group breaks a bone or collapses from exhaustion, what's your plan? And here's the grim reality. Hospitals might be closed, overrun, or simply too far away. You might not even have enough medication to get through the first week. Young kids and the elderly are especially vulnerable. They dehydrate faster, suffer more from temperature swings, and struggle with long hikes or poor sleep. Add in the mental toll. Panic, trauma, confusion, and even the most stable people can start making bad decisions that put everyone at risk. As Ask a Prepper points out, staying home allows you to keep administering medicine, manage hygiene, and monitor health in a familiar, controlled environment. But once you're on the move, you're facing illness and injury without proper care, and often without a backup plan. Unless you're a trained medic with a professional-grade trauma kit, your ability to handle serious medical emergencies in a bug-out situation will be limited, and maybe fatally so. Let's wrap up with why bugging out should never be your first plan, and why, for most, it's a last resort. All of these factors make one thing clear. Bugging out is not your best option, it's your last resort. You're leaving behind your safest location, most of your supplies, and the comfort of familiar ground. And in exchange, you step into uncertainty, chaos, and risk. The moment you hit the road, your safety, your food, your shelter, and your security become vulnerable, and your control over the situation drops near to zero. Now, that doesn't mean bugging out is never the right move. Sometimes it is necessary, when your home is no longer safe, when it's about to be destroyed or overrun. But make no mistake, it's a high-risk decision, and it should never be done lightly or without serious preparation. This isn't about fear, it's about being clear-eyed. Knowing the real risks gives you power. It lets you make smarter decisions long before disaster strikes. For most emergencies, bugging in, staying put, is safer, more practical, and gives you a far better chance of survival. But if staying put is no longer an option, but if you have no choice, here is how to survive. So, let's say the worst-case scenario becomes your reality, and staying home is no longer an option. Maybe it's a wildfire, a toxic chemical spill, or mob violence turning your neighborhood into a war zone. If you absolutely must bug out, you need to approach it with precision and purpose, not like in the movies, but with real-world strategy. In this next section, we'll walk through a focused, practical guide to surviving a bug-out situation. From choosing the right gear and mapping safe routes, to physical conditioning, managing your supplies, and staying mentally sharp. We've gathered advice straight from experienced survival instructors and adapted it to real US terrain challenges. Remember, the goal here isn't to live off the land or become a hero. It's simple. Get out alive and get to safety. Here's how to do it right. Let's start with your gear, what to pack, and what to leave behind. When your survival depends on what's in your backpack, every single item must earn its place. You can't carry your whole house, so you need to pack smart, not heavy. Focus on the essentials that directly support survival, using the rule of 4s: shelter, water, fire, and food. That means you need gear that keeps you warm and dry, keeps you hydrated, lets you make fire, helps you eat, and protects your health and safety. Your bug-out bag isn't a wish list, it's a lifeline. As one seasoned prepper put it, if it doesn't keep you alive or give you a real advantage, it's dead weight. Don't fall for the trap of overloading with high-tech gadgets or luxury gear. No tablets, no gimmicks. Instead, rely on proven basics, a sturdy tarp or bivvy, all-weather clothing, warm layers, good socks, and a sleeping bag or emergency blanket that fits the season. If space allows, maybe even a lightweight tent. Water is everything. Bring a compact, high-quality filter like a Sawyer Mini or LifeStraw, water purification tablets, and durable containers. Carry at least 2 liters if you can, and make sure you can find and purify more on the way. When it comes to food, think compact and calorie-dense. Energy bars, trail mix, jerky, dehydrated meals. You're not packing for comfort, you're packing to stay alive for a few days until you reach safety or resupply. And never forget about fire. Pack waterproof matches, a lighter, and a ferro rod. Fire gives you warmth, boiled water, light, and morale. Once your core survival items are packed, don't forget the rest of your essentials, especially the ones that can make or break your ability to keep going. Start with a compact but capable first aid kit designed for field use. At minimum, include bandages, antiseptic, pain relievers, and any critical personal medications, ideally in sealed waterproof bags. If you can, add backup prescriptions for anything life-sustaining. A good multi-tool or knife is a must-have. From cutting wood to opening cans or defending yourself in a worst-case scenario, it's one of the most versatile tools you can carry. Lighting is vital. A reliable headlamp with spare batteries keeps your hands free at night. You'll need to move, set up camp, or signal in the dark, and doing it blind could get you hurt. Navigation gear is another critical piece. Don't rely solely on your phone. Pack a proper map of your region and a compass, and make sure you know how to use them. If GPS fails or leads you into danger, these analog tools could be your way out. A small emergency radio, hand crank or battery-powered, can provide weather alerts, news, or updates on unfolding events. It keeps you connected when everything else is silent. Finally, think about how your gear, and you, look. This is where many people go wrong. Now is not the time to break out full tactical gear or wear a vest loaded with rifle mags. That makes you a walking target for both desperate people and authorities who may view you as a threat. Modern advice is clear: go gray man. That means neutral clothing, no camo, no flashy gear. You want to look like someone who's trying to get home, not someone prepping for battle. A simple school or hiking backpack in neutral colors is less threatening than a military ruck. Keep weapons and tools discreet. The more you stand out, the more attention you attract, and that's the last thing you want in a real bug out. Now that your gear is streamlined and discreet, it's time to talk strategy, specifically what goes in the bag and how to carry it smart. One of the most common rookie mistakes is overpacking. Don't be the person who stuffs in 4 knives, a machete, and an axe, but forgets to pack enough food or water. Yes, it happens. Your bug out bag isn't a mobile armory, it's your lifeline. Every item should earn its place. Focus on balance and function. Multi-use items are gold. A heavy-duty contractor trash bag? That's a poncho, a tarp, and a water collector all in one. Paracord has dozens of uses, from building a shelter to repairing gear. Even duct tape deserves a spot. Wrapping a couple feet around your water bottle or lighter to save space, and you've got emergency repairs in seconds. The rule is simple: weight is your enemy. Every extra pound drains your energy, slows your pace, and increases the risk of injury. So pack for the person you are, not for the person you wish you were. Be honest about your fitness level. Never carried your bug out bag before? Test it. Go on a 5-mile hike with the full load. You'll quickly learn what's dead weight and what truly matters. It's far better to carry a lean, efficient kit and reach your destination than to collapse halfway with a doomsday Rambo pack that tries to cover every scenario. And remember, knowledge weighs nothing. The more survival skills you build, the less gear you'll need to carry. Learn how to tie knots, build a shelter from scratch, or find and purify water in the field. These abilities let you move lighter and think faster. Because in a real bug out, skill beats stuff every time. So, let's wrap up this gear section with one key reminder: trim the fat. Yes, bring the critical survival tools. Yes, pack a few comfort items, but cut out the fluff. Every item should earn its place in your pack. And once you're done packing, trim it down again. You can't carry the pantry, the gun safe, and the solar generator on your back. Bugging out is about the bare essentials, the minimum you need to stay alive and keep moving. A good rule of thumb: keep your pack under 20% of your body weight, preferably less. That means choosing smart, light, and versatile gear over bulky, redundant junk. And here's the part most people skip: break in your gear before you need it. Don't let the first time you pitch your tent or filter dirty water be during an actual crisis. Practice now. Get familiar, build muscle memory. Because in a real emergency, there won't be any time to fumble through instructions. Coming up next, knowing what to pack is just one piece of the puzzle. Because when it's time to leave, you need more than gear. You need a plan, a destination, and a way to get there. In the next video, we'll talk about one of the biggest survival game changers, route planning. Where will you go? How will you get there? What if your main road is blocked or your car breaks down? We'll break down how to choose smart, realistic bug-out destinations, plan multiple escape routes, and navigate when GPS fails. Because in a real crisis, wandering aimlessly isn't survival, it's suicide. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And hey, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, or experiences. And remember, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next video.